Hello. It's 6 o'clock, so I'm going to start talking before we start. Oh, I said hello. I'm sorry. Howdy. Howdy. Thanks for coming to our second annual Halloween concert. I think it's so much fun to give the kids a chance to show off their costumes. I know there is one thing I'm going to point out when 8th grade band comes out, just because it's personally offending to me. But you'll hear more about that later. But I just want to say thank you for being here, and thank you also to the administration, Kelly Nichols, Dustin Roth, and Bob Bardwell, just for supporting the music here in the district so much. We just really appreciate it. And also thank you to the boosters. There's 2 announcements I was supposed to write down that I just forgot. One of them is Butter Braids. Middle school kids, they're going to bring Butter Braid fundraisers home tomorrow. And the next meeting I have down is November 10th at 7 p.m. at Eureka High School Library. And we are really trying to get some more middle school parents involved in helping out, because ideally when you get to high school, you will also help out, right? And be involved. So come to the meetings and just hear what's going on. There's a lot of exciting stuff, and we want your input. And also Boosters does a lot of work. They're providing cookies afterwards and stuff like that. So we're just thankful for all of the things that they do. And I also want to say thank you to my wife, who's watching online, for letting me run away, have a bunch of fun, and then come back home, and also run around and have lots of fun. We have a newborn right now, and I realize that not everyone likes to talk at 3 a.m., but I do. So when I get up at 3 a.m., I'm just so excited to talk to my wife and everything. So I'm so grateful she deals with me, I guess. And also, I think we should give the most important people in the room a big round of applause. All the 7th and 8th grade students who, without them, we wouldn't be here. So thank you for being in band and being here. Let's give them a big round of applause. And I just have to say, I'm sure you've heard that the high school marching band won in their class, so they made history by coming in 12th place, which is super awesome. So if you see a high school kid in here, give them a high five or something like that. Yeah. But I had to tell the 7th and 8th graders what's so cool about this is in 2 years, hopefully you'll be winning state championships too. That's the goal. So I think it's cool for them to see where they're going and the excellence they're going into. So I had to say something. So what's going to happen is we're going to do our warm-up that we usually do in class. We're going to do some breathing. We're going to play a little bit to warm up, and then we're going to do a chorale. And I'm going to do something different with this concert. I'm going to talk a little bit in between, not a whole lot, but just a little bit. I kind of tell you about the piece, the composers, and why we're playing the things we are, just so you know that I don't just pick stuff willy-nilly, but there's a purpose for all of it. So we're going to warm up right now, play a chorale, and you do not have to clap after the chorale if you don't feel inclined. But if you do feel inclined, go ahead. I won't be upset. So thank you so much for coming, and we're going to get started right now.
Right now.
The warm-up we do every day at the beginning of the band class. The next piece you're going to hear is Synergy March by William Owen. This is a very short march that I used to think was the kids' favorite piece, but when I was practicing this during class, they told me it was not. So it is not their favorite piece. But marchers are very important for all bands to play, especially young bands. It works on a lot of fundamentals, like being able to hear the melody, and there's a very easy to pick out bass line. So it's a very short march. And also, old school bands kind of stem from military bands, it's our history. So the main genre that military bands play is marches. So I think it's really important for bands to play marches because you cannot deny your history. So I hope you enjoy Synergy March. Now, is it really a spooky concert if you don't play Scooby-Doo? So we're going to play Scooby-Doo right now, and something you might notice is this is a unison piece, so the whole band is playing the Scooby-Doo melody, and some reasons why I picked it other than the fact that it's Scooby-Doo, there's actually two rhythms in here that are kind of difficult. They're syncopated rhythms. So in the melody we have bum bum bum, which is one and that's actually surprisingly tricky to play. And there's also a pickup on the and that is a little tricky for us to play too. So those are just kind of two of the rhythmic things that made it why I picked this. And also, everyone loves Scooby-Doo. It's one of my favorite TV shows. When I was their age, I would watch it before school every single day. But I hope you enjoy Scooby-Doo. Now, this next piece is called Ghost Ship, arranged by Michael Story, and it's an arrangement of a sea shanty. And this is actually based off of a mystery about a merchant ship that left New York in the year 1872, bound for Italy, and it disappeared on its voyage and was never found. And still to this day, they do not know what happened to that ship. So this is inspired by that, and this is definitely a challenge piece for us. It's a piece in 3/4. It's long, so there's lots of endurance to it, and it switches keys towards the end. And there's also some chunks in it when sections are playing with their own section, and they're really exposed. So it's a good challenge for us, and they really pulled it off, and we're really excited to play Ghost Ship for you now. Now, this next piece is called Dark Corridors. This is a very cinematic work. It kind of sounds like an action movie a little bit. And it's kind of clouded with shadows and dissonance, so it makes it really exciting. I think this is our favorite piece now, right? Yeah, this one is? Okay, so this one is our favorite. And I feel like it's angry. There's lots of anger in it. And one thing we did to help have anger when we played this piece is we told a story that, imagine, right, you walked home, you took the bus, and you get home, and you do all of your chores without asking. And you go a step further, and maybe you wash the dishes on your own without asking, you like wash the car, you do whatever, you go above and beyond. And you're sitting at the dining room table doing your homework, like you should, right? And then your parents walk in, and they don't even say hi, they just look at you and say, you're grounded. Just right off the bat, right? You're grounded, that's it. And you should have, before, there wasn't a lot of energy, and it wasn't very angry. Afterwards, you could see the steam coming out of their ears. Like they got it. That was the story that made them realize that's the emotion we're going for. So I hope you really enjoyed Dark Corridors. This is a very long piece. At the end of it, you'll probably see some of your kids scratch their mouth out because you just played for so long. But I hope you really enjoy it. And as soon as they're done, they're going to stand up and bow. So if you want to get your cameras out at the end and take some pictures of all the great costumes, feel free to do so. Here's the last piece for 7th grade band, Dark Corridors. Deal with the 8th grade band. We're going to warm up a little bit, and then we'll play our chorale, and I'll talk some, and we'll play it a lot. So, I have to point out one costume. Could you stand up? So Brody comes up to me and says, Mr. Wan, do you like my costume? And I said, yeah, I guess, but what are you? He goes, oh, I'm you in 30 years. And he said, complete with, I don't know if you can see, but he's wearing slides, and sometimes I wear Birkenstocks to school. And he said, I'm wearing slippers just like you do to school. So I just had to point that out. I thought it was a good costume. Thank you. But we're going to warm up a little bit, play our chorale, and then we'll get going. So as you can see on your programs, the chorale, number 2, that's something in 8th grade played, and also this march for wind band was arranged by someone named Dr. Philip Hash. Dr. Philip Hash is a professor of music education at Illinois State University. He taught me when I was there, but he was also very gracious, and he came out and he spent a whole afternoon with the 8th and 7th grade bands and worked with us on these pieces. And so the Beethoven march you're about to hear is originally an octet written for 2 clarinets, 2 bassoons, and 2 French horns. And what Dr. Hash did was took that music and just gave it to the band. And the only thing he added was percussion parts, because back in the day when Beethoven was around, they just taught percussion by rote. There was a drum major, and Beethoven actually wrote 9 marches that are very good. So this is exactly what Beethoven wrote, and I hope you enjoy Beethoven's March for Wind Band. Now this next piece you're going to hear is Danse Macabre by Camille Saint-Jean, arranged by Katie Codina, and this is a unison part. And once we play this piece, I'm guarantee you've heard it at least one other place. And it was originally a concerto for violin, and there's a French legend that Death, on Halloween, hears the fiddle around, and he goes to graveyards, and he plays this spooky dance, and all of the skeletons come out of the grave, and they dance one more time before returning to their eternal rest. And so, this is that piece, but we're all playing the melody, and this is a challenge piece for us. And I don't know what's spookier, the story or the amount of notes we play that are in the key signature in this piece. It is very spooky, there's lots of notes, it's very fast, but I think they like it a lot, and they're doing a good job, so I hope you enjoy this one. This next piece is called The Sorcerer's Procession by Dougals and Akey. And this piece, there's no program notes. Sometimes composers write program notes and explain the story behind their piece. But this one we kind of made up our own story. It's very cinematic, I would say. But we kind of told the story as it starts off with like a wizard at his desk. And an owl flies in with a scroll telling him to go and kill a dragon somewhere. And so he goes on his quest, he's kind of happy. And then he takes a nap. And while he's taking a nap, he sees this storm in the distance. It's kind of the quiet part in the middle. And as the storm is coming in, he slowly realizes that it's not just a storm. It's the dragon coming to find him first. And so the end of it is kind of their battle, and he slays the dragon at the end. But this used to be our favorite until we got Haunted Clocks, which is the last one. So I guess this is our second favorite piece that we're going to play for you, and I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. last piece is called Hunted Clocks. And you might think to yourself when you hear this, that it sounds like they're playing the same measure over and over again. And that's because in the beginning, we are playing the same measure over and over again. There's something in this called a vamp, which is just a repeat. It means you repeat as many times as you feel like it the first one. It's something that's used a lot in musicals, and it kind of like builds time for people to do stuff on stage and run off the stage, but we're just doing it here for dramatic effect. And the flutes, it might sound like they're kind of playing randomly when they're not supposed to. That's because they're playing randomly when they are supposed to. They're just giving, the composer gave them just a couple of notes and said, play this whenever you feel like it. So this piece, the flutes are kind of being that spooky, eerie clock sound, and you'll hear the clock sound definitely in the back too, but this is our favorite piece, Haunted Clocks. And at the end, there's one note we play that's super soft, so make sure you lean in and you can hear the last note, so you can feel like it a lot. And afterwards, we're gonna stand up and bow. So if you want to get your cameras out for the end, feel free. But thanks so much for coming. Hope you enjoy. So if you're a 7th or 8th grade band kiddo, take your instruments folders, go ahead and put them away. If you're a parent who is waiting for your kid, if you don't mind helping me put all of these chairs back.